Hello and welcome to a game of Dota 2. You are watching StarSeries. It is day 18 of Season 7, and we are here with Na'Vi taking on Duza Gaming, one of the favorite teams of the season. Na'Vi taking on the newcomer, Duza Gaming, their first step into competitive Dota 2. They came from Dota 1. They'll be on the Radiant side here, and they're of course the qualified team. An interesting match for sure, and I will not be by myself, of course, for this one. I am joined for the first time on my side, but not for the first time co-casting, obviously. It is the Capitalist. Welcome to the broadcast.
Well, thanks so much for having me, Shiva. This should be a pretty exciting day of Dota. I mean, starting out this first game, you look at it and you're like, Na'Vi versus unsponsored team. Your first reaction is like, oh, this is going to be a stomp. But Na'Vi hasn't really been performing that well coming back from their break. They've already lost to Aspira and Power Rangers, and Duza has beaten them both. So... you know, transitive property, Duza should win this game, right? But I just love watching Duza Gaming. Even at win or loss, I really like watching this team because it's good Russian aggression. I mean, they're the team that picked up not only Slardar, but Witch Doctor as well. Like,
You're right.
Who saw that coming?
Oh, I definitely did not saw it coming. You know the qualifiers, of course, Duza came from the qualifiers. I casted those qualifiers. I casted 4 games of those. All 4 with Duza. And every game... and I mean every game, they picked Nature's Prophet, Doom, and then for Unstable and Capron either Visage and Vengeful or Enchantress and Nyx Assassin. That was it, and then the mid hero was 2 different heroes as well. It's just, you know, very the same heroes, so when they started picking up other heroes, I was kind of surprised. But I think we will see a Doom if they get the chance to pick it up. A Doom, Nature's Prophet, they really love those, even though right now we already see a Darkseer there, so I think that MIB will get to play that one. Interesting to note for Duza as well. They always let the IO go past. They don't care about it.
Yeah, and you know, Doom would actually be a really great pickup here so far. I mean, you've already got the Lifestealer first pick coming out from Na'Vi. Doom, with his recent change around, with his ultimate, he can actually take away that feast, and that's a huge part of Lifestealer, and all of a sudden he just becomes a normal squishy melee hero that isn't able to infest away, no rage, no feast, nothing like that. So it becomes really easy to just kick him out of the fight, and you could just, from there, turn that into a chase where you pick off heroes, or just man fight, and chances are Na'Vi's going to lose that fight if they don't have a Lifestealer able to output much damage. They've got a Wisp, though, so they've got a lot of ganking action already, and you know, Doom, he likes to be able to gank as well. He wants to be able to pick up that Shadow Blade, but nobody beats Wisp. Nobody beats Wisp in the global pressure that you're able to put on these enemy heroes. So Duza, they might just kind of draft themselves towards a complete 5-on-5, just focus on team fight, focus on 5v5s, force some pressure, force some towers down. And I mean, they've already got the Visage and the Darkseer, 2 great teamfight heroes, especially that Darkseer. You pick up a Gyrocopter, you pick up something like, you know, another good support like a Rubik. They're looking really, really strong in the mid game, and they can force that pressure without having to separate and get caught out by the Wisp.
Yeah, and another hero that I think would fit that perfectly would be an OD, actually. Still in the pool? Actually, no. Damn. Ban out first. I really thought that he was still in for a second. Wow, brain fart there. Well, they do ban out the Spirit Breaker, which Limbo played as a carry yesterday up against Virtus Pro. Spoiler alert, they did win with that, so Na'Vi have done their homework. Good job. We still have a Beastmaster in the pool, something that Legion often plays as well. Storm Spirit now removed from Na'Vi, but Duza has a chance to pick up something first, and they can still pick up that Doom. We've also seen Limbo play Tiny and more of those more sturdy carry heroes, but for now they will select their support and will just leave everything in the open because, well, right now, what can you say about Duza's lineup apart from that it's team fighty? Of course, Darkseer, Jakiro is a great combination. I mean, you can see what they want to do, but you don't really know exactly what type of heroes you have to counter if you're Na'Vi at this point. So, keeping it open, keeping it clean, I like it thus far. Duza is just very safe.
Yep, they're not really giving away too much. I mean, they've got offlane and 2 supports. You can't really get much more mysterious than that. This could be an aggressive tri-lane if they really want to get ballsy with it. This could be just a normal defensive tri-lane. They could go pure mid-game, or they can go and try and pick up some really hard carry, you know, something like a Faceless Void or a Spectre or something like that. So they've let themselves a lot of options available in the draft, and we've seen, like you were talking about, how they picked up, you know, the same kind of draft all throughout the qualifiers. qualifiers, but since then, you were talking about how they switched up their draft quite a bit, and that's really a good sign for an early team to come through like this. A lot of these early teams, they focus on one draft and they master it, and that's a really smart thing to do to get to this level. But once you get to this level, you need to start changing it up, and the fact that they've been picking such a wide range of heroes, I think shows really good promise for this team. So hopefully we're going to see something interesting. I wouldn't mind seeing a Slaughter here, but there it is. There's the Doom pickup. Already you've got a Nature's Prophet, Lifestealer. Both of those are going to be high profile targets for Doom to be able to pick off. Lifestealer, easy hero to counter in those team fights, and Nature's Prophet is constantly going to be split pushing, but that's going to be an easy target for him to go pick up that Shadow Blade and try and counter gank him as much as possible. So I think Duza made a really wise choice there, picking up that Doom that they have already shown a lot of success with.
I fully agree. I like Navi's draft as well, though. I mean, it's pretty standard in terms of when you have an IO, you go global. It is Nature's Prophet. I mean, Lifestealer already has 2 targets to invest into. You can have a fight anywhere on the map where you wanted to, and you can have 3 extra people there in no time. And that's very scary for Duza to be up against. So their ganking potential maybe slightly diminished, though. As I already said, Duza is probably one of the teams that lets IO goes through most in StarSeries thus far, so they are used to fighting up against a lineup that is this global. We're gonna see if Navi can maybe change the pattern in terms of having IO drafts lose against Duza. They pick up a puck, and you already mentioned, like, Duza, their answer to fighting up against IO is go team fight. Simple. One of the things that puck is brilliant as is just control. Blink in, silence everybody, nobody team fights anymore, and all of a sudden Navi can just open up the entire fight for their advantage.
Yeah, and now they have an Ace Bomb hero as well. They already have the Nature's Prophet, but that's you sometimes see it, but it's more likely you want to see a Blink hero, something that's just instant like that. And Puck's going to be able to give you that once he has that Blink. Being able to jump in, hit the silence, hit the ultimate, and Lifestealer can just tear things apart. And Doom, if you get Doom in that silence, by the time he's ready to actually cast his ultimate, he's undisabling and everything, it's already too late. Like, Lifestealer is very good at outputting burst physical damage through his rage, his fast attack speed, his feast. He just gobbles up a hero, and by the 3 seconds is all it's going to take for him to gain a significant advantage. And even if Doom is able to get off his ultimate, it's already probably going to be a lost fight. So really smart pickup there by Na'Vi. Standard hero for them to be picking up anyway. Duza very smartly banning away a jungler. They're going to take away the Enchantress. Heavy damage dealing going into the late game. I feel that Na'Vi already has the late game pretty well in hand. Unless Duza goes pretty crazy here with their last pick, Na'Vi should have the late game well in hand. So Duza is really going to need to put some early pressure, and that's really going to be hard because Na'Vi has so much split push. Anytime, even if they are able to force a team fight and maybe even take a tower, there's always going to be some other tower going down in the bottom or top lane because of either Wisp or more likely Nature's Prophet.
Yeah, I do want to point out, by the way, Na'Vi have used every second of their bonus time apart from 1. They only have 1 second left. Duza, this is the first time they actually use their bonus time at all. They still need a carry. It's the only thing they have left. We have Na'Vi banning out the Weaver against them. Well, I say need a carry. They need actually a mid, I guess, up against the TA, assuming that Doom is going to be the carry there. Yeah, they need a mid. I'm not sure. Legion doesn't... I haven't really seen him play Templar Assassin, which is, of course, a mid up against a puck that should, in theory, be winning. But when you are the underdog team, and you're up against Na'Vi, and you're going to be playing mid against Dendi, right? Do you want to have a hero that is still... that in theory should win up against a puck, but you might not be that comfortable with it? No, you go for a hero that you're comfortable with, that you're safe with. And of course there's already a ban out on the Dragon Knight. I would still not be surprised to see a Beastmaster there though, because that would be a hero that that Legion is comfortable with. He's played it before, and it's a fairly sturdy hero as well. Doesn't really have that much chance of dying early on, unless of course Puppy comes around together with Kuroki to try and gank up on you, but I'm thinking Legion is, imagine, right? This is your first tournament, like, in Dota 2. You're gonna be playing up against Na'Vi. Good luck. Good luck, solo mid. Oh, I like this, though. Love it. The Slurk.
Okay, this is good because you've got a good hero that's able to defeat a lot of the disables coming out from Na'Vi. He's a very aggressive hero, which is exactly what they need. Something they are lacking though is strong push potential. That's only going to come out until Doom has an AC later, and that's really their only source of real good physical damage against towers. Slark is good at outputting some good damage, but that's only after he steals a bunch of stats. So that's the one thing is they've got really great team fight, but if Na'Vi just avoids fighting for a long time and wow, Earthshaker picks up, we got a heavy farming support here. Wants to be able to pick up his mana boots, wants to be able to pick up his blink dagger, but after that he's all ready to fight. So now they've got some good turtle out of Earthshaker as well. So I think Na'Vi has a stronger draft here. I think they're really going to be able to just move around the map heavily and avoid Duza as much as possible, but it's hard to avoid a Slark, man. He just moves around the map so quickly, and also being able to call out those the ward placement through your ultimate, as long as you're paying attention to that. Vision's going to go dark on the map, and Navi's going to have to play a little bit scared when they try and, get some aggressive, global TPs out. They'll never really know what's going on the map if Duza plays this right.
Yeah, we're actually seeing Legion moving bottom with the Slark, so they don't even want to put Slark up against the puck. They just want to have him safe farming so that when the time comes, he'll be able to rampage and he'll be able to dominate that mid game before, hopefully for him, before Io can dominate the map with his relocate threat. And of course, they're going to try to shut that down. They're going to run an aggressive trial up against that IO. I have to say, like the moment you said that, Duza has got a stronger team fight, etc., then the Earthshaker got picked up. It's like, okay, if you don't want a team fight, lay down a fissure, the entire enemy team gets cut off, everybody gets stopped, everybody of Na'Vi gets himself away, and everybody is safe again. It's the ultimate, I don't want to fight right now, here's a fissure, bye, kind of statement that you can make there. So I really like the pickup from Na'Vi there. Let's go over and see who's playing what. We have got an aggressive trialing, so rejoice for that one, although Na'Vi is also running an aggressive trialing, so it's going to be countered by dodging. Anyway, we have Limbo playing his signature Doom. Capron, definitely one of his signature heroes as well. He's playing the Visage, who was able to get a lot of kills on the map. Yesterday, actually, we had a stat that he had an average of 8 kills per game on the Visage in StarSeries thus far, which is pretty impressive.
Wow.
Unstable will be playing the Jakiro, all that on the trial, and of course, and in the mid lane we have MIB the Best, who'll just try to get as much as he can up against Dandy in the mid lane. On the bottom lane it's Legion playing the Slark up against I thought an aggressive trial, but the rotation came out and looks like Na'Vi is going to have dual lanes run here, but I'll let Na'Vi to be introduced by you.
Yeah, but top lane, what started out is just Pycat in a solo. He's going to be on the Nature's Prophet, but now he's going to be joined kind of by Puppey on that Earthshaker. Right now, Earthshaker's sitting on mid, keeping an eye on that Darkseer, but no real reason. Dandy's going to have a little bit of hard time as that mid puck versus this constant spam of Ion Shell, but for the most part, this is just going to be a CS4 in middle. And then at bottom, it's Kuroki on the Wisp and Havost on that Lifestealer, the dual lane combined. They might be able to get a kill on Slark, but it's highly unlikely as long as Slark is able to use his Dark Pact at the right time with open wounds, and Pounce is just such a powerful mobility spell for him to be able to get out of the way. The biggest thing is keeping him down on CS and making sure he doesn't get too big so he doesn't dominate the mid game.
Yeah, in the meantime, on the top lane, we already have Unstable in a little bit of trouble here. In comes the Fisher for Puppey. He's going to block Unstable. He's still trying to eat his way out. Puppey getting a bit of harassment here from Capron, who goes up on Pycat. In comes Limbo. They try to take down Pycat, who tries to TP out, but he won't be able to. First blood goes to the Doom. Unstable is still chasing Puppey around the tree line. In comes the Fisher, still not getting the kill close, though. 30 HP left for the Jakiro, who eats himself another tree. Puppey in some trouble, perhaps, as Nature's Prophet TP's back in to still find himself the kill. And Puppey able to make it out safe. So 1 for 1 in the end. But trade in favor, of course, for Duza, as they did get that Doom with the first blood. And, by the way, Doom got lucky. He already ate himself a wolf.
Oh, very nice. That's so helpful, especially early on when you're going like a hard carry Doom. You want to be able to have that extra attack damage. Unfortunately, though, I don't think they really should have pursued the Earthshaker. When you throw down double Fissures like that, chances are you're going to go back anyway because you've blown through all of your mana. They weren't going to get that kill, and so what ended up happening is they just abandoned Jakiro, who got picked off by Nature's Prophet teleporting in. So at least Pycat's going to enjoy that. He's now level 3, has level 2 in those treants. Middle, Dendy's taking a lot of damage. He's going to be just fine, though. But it still goes to show how well Darkseer can do against, some traditional mids. some squishier mids. It used to be Templar Assassin that we used to see Darkseer picked up mid all the time. But versus Puck, you know, he puts in a lot of pressure with a double Ion Shell. Puck can't really burst down the creep waves fast enough, and he ends up taking a lot of Ion Shell harassment in order to trade for CS.
Yeah, in theory, Darkseer should not be able to kill off a Puck, of course, or kill up most mid lanes, but Darkseers on lanes are just, no matter which lane actually, they're just so strong. That Ion Shell really controlling. In the meantime, we have Legion in a bit of trouble here on the bottom lane, and I mean, he's only got 3 last hits. He was able to get away from the initiations from Na'Vi, but 3 last hits on the Slark that they are really hoping to do well mid-game is kind of troublesome. Of course, they're trying to use the time to get as much, well, dominance from the top lane as they can, but they aren't really shutting down Pyke that hard. He actually got a last hit more than Legion. He's got 4 last hits, and on top of that, he of course has himself a kill upon the Jakiro earlier on. So I'm not quite sure if these lanes are working out for Duza all too well.
Yeah, the biggest thing is whether or not the supports are going to be able to rotate into middle and see if they can get a pick off on Puck. Now, they don't have a hard disable, so it's kind of unlikely, especially since you're going up against Dendi. But if they can make it happen, then this will all be worth it. Slark, you know, not being able to get much CS, that kind of sucks, but Slark does rely pretty heavily on experience rather than gold. He wants to be able to get that maxed out Dark Pact and Pounce. You know, getting those items is really, really important, but in the mid game, for the most part, you're just going to be hunting down heroes. Jakiro, he's going to get caught out at bottom.
Yeah, Ice Path will still hit up on the eye, but in comes Dendi, and down goes Jakiro for the second time. They saw him moving around with the ward, of course, and then they just decided to come in there. Nature's Prophet providing for a good tether target. In the meantime, Puppy will guard the rune that actually spawned top, so Jakiro was in the wrong place anyways. And then he will get the rune.
Yeah, that's a really interesting ward that he placed there. Kuroki kind of doubling up on the vision around that bottom river area.
Yeah.
Putting both of those down, and actually works out brilliantly because Jakiro rotates at the wrong time, but very interesting. I think they expected to be actually meeting up against Tri-Lanes, but that wasn't the case. Slark doing the right thing here. He's actually pulling for himself. He knows he doesn't really want to be out too far into this lane, so he's going to focus on just pulling, bringing the lane back as much as possible. As soon as he hits level 6, he's going to be looking just fine in this lane. In fact, he may even be able to get a kill on Kuroki if he's not careful.
Yeah, of course, Slarks don't really need that much to try and find kills, so that is still going to work out. In the meantime, we might have Pyket in a bit of trouble here. In comes a slow, Soul Assumption will hit. And one hit, one crit from Limo is all it takes. That Wolf. It's insane, the amount of early game advantage you get with that Wolf if you are actually able to hit some heroes, of course. Still have Puppy around, so lays down a Fisher trying to stop the push from happening. And it works out for them. Even though Puppy might be in some trouble, but finds Sanctuary at the tower. Unstable back on the top lane, still level 2. Capron level 4 in the meantime. In comes Pycat back on the top lane. He does have his Sprout if he wants to try and lock someone down in range of the tower, but everybody's already gone, so that will be the end of that. It's 2 for 2 on the kill score. Of course, both kills for Navi done on Jakiro, while the kills for Duza are both done on the Nature's Prophet. In terms of priority targets, favors Duza slightly. But I'm still not convinced that their lanes are actually working out in their favor.
Yeah, and you know, Doom actually picked up Arena Health. I was expecting a very fast Shadow Blade, and for him to try and free up some room for Slark to get a little bit more farmer, or even just the two of them moving around the map and ganking heavily. Shutting down Havos is a big part. Doom carry is kind of a little bit like Alchemist, because most of the time you will maintain a gold lead, and that's how you carry as a Doom, is you have more items.
Look at the net that's being cast here in the Radiant Jungle. The positioning of Navi, they really want to take down his Darkseer. They came in with 3 from all sides. Looks like MIB was at least able to know that it was happening. He tries to get away. Dreamcore he already used his Surge also. Still taking a lot of damage, but not going down just yet. In comes a bounce. Kuroki will end up dropping first here. Ice Path doesn't hit anybody anymore. Delta split from Navi. Puppy going one way, Denny the other. Denny thinking about maybe throwing out an orb. Maybe going in again. In comes a pound. Sets up on Puppy. He's level 2 and he's already dead. Double kill for Capron. He has got a Soul Assumption if he has the mana, which he does. Only needs to Vos his Rage to run out, which is going to be happening soon. And there we go. And it's a triple kill for Capron. Now goes for Dendi, who is able to at least throw out an orb and go back to the low ground again. Jakiro will still end up dropping. That's at least something that Dendi got off that rotation still, but triple kill for Capron. That's how fast fights can turn around if there's a Visage around that actually has mana.
Not what you want to see if you're Navi. I mean, like, going that deep is pretty dangerous anyway, but having a Slark in that safe lane, the Slark's obviously not going to be getting targeted, so all of that is pure chase for him, which really plays off into his essence ship. He was hitting for 104 towards the end of that fight because he was stealing so many stats, and that's only a level 1 essence ship. So that's only 15 seconds worth of time. But that was just pure fighting. He was able to steal a lot of stats because of it, and just really unfortunate. Havels probably should have just abandoned his supports and just been like, you know what, guys, I'm staying here at this bottom lane. I'm going to continue to farm. You guys do whatever you're doing over there, but I can't help you. Top, we're soon going to see a kill. It's just inevitable. Doom, whether he teleports out, he went for that Vanguard, which is what the Ring of Health was built into. A little bit interesting, but this is going to allow him to be really, really tanky. It's going to have him up in the middle of the team fight. Kind of delays his effectiveness when it comes to ganking, but it's going to be worth it if they're able to force some good team fights. I just don't see Na'Vi taking the bait on that one. I just don't think they're going to take a lot of these team fights, and I feel he should have built a little bit more gank heavy, but we'll see if it pays off. I mean, it's still a good item on Doom. And he's just still waiting to be able to use that ultimate. He's really itchy. He wants to be able to dive Furion.
He should be able to get that kill if he just is able to dive, indeed. He is no longer supported, by the way. Dendi is doing a big dive here. In comes Pikehead as well. They still want to try to get this Darks here. Second attempt at gank on them. This time they don't lose heroes for it. Yet, I say, because... Oh, unstable actually. Might be in the wrong place, wrong time. Well, it's a bit awkward positioning from him. Not able to do anything. Gets silenced, gets killed. Not surprising that he was dead, but surprisingly he was still hanging around there, considering it was quite obvious there were two people that just moved that way. But... well...
yeah, maybe he made the assumption that Puck was actually still low, but truth was he had a potion. He used it up, went up to full health. Visage, though, he's actually got some pretty good farm when he's sitting up with this Doom. They did a little bit of pulling to hard camp. They've gotten some decent amount of kills. Now they're about to take a tier 1. That's going to be an early medallion form, which really enhances Doom's damage. If he can get that Grave Chill off, slow down those heroes, Doom, with his extra movement speed, he's going to be able to provide a lot of early physical damage through his critical that he already has. You combine that with some minus armor, he's actually going to be hitting like a truck very, very early on, which is kind of surprising. You're not really used to many heroes dealing really good physical damage this early on, but Doom is one of the few heroes who really can put a punch.
Yeah, and then also, I mean, not even mentioning that the critical strike is there from the Wolf, it's going to be even more. It's going to be pretty scary for Na'Vi if they actually fight, which is something that they're probably going to try to avoid. And one of the things that's also important to note is that there is actually a visit at level 6. It's first support to reach level 6. Oh, wait a second, Slark is in some trouble. Goes invisible, but there's a sentry right there. Tries to pounce himself away, but pounds himself into of the Dream Coil that Dendi threw out. And that's going to be the first kill upon Legion. 5-5 now in the kill score. Dendi, of course, making a rotation. He might be giving up quite something there on the mid lane, though, because we had a rotation at the same time for Duza. They went mid, and they go towards Dendi, or Poppy rather. They see him already. Can they actually slow him down? In comes a Surge, in comes a Slow, in comes a Familiars as well. Is it going to be enough? It might be. One Soul Assumption could be it, but they... oh, he doesn't find the stuns with the Familiars. And that's going to be one happy Earthshaker that he lives, at least. But yeah, I mean, Capron level 6. There's an Io that's level 5. He was level 4 when I started talking about that, but then the kill happened and towers fell and stuff like that. And we have an Earthshaker that's level 4, so level-wise, Duza is doing really well there. Jakiro, of course, still level 4, but he has an Ice Path level 2. He's going to be okay.
Yeah, they're sitting about 2,000 gold and experience up, so they're in a pretty good spot right now, but they need to be in that spot. Considering looking at their draft, they need to be ahead already, and this just needs to continue to snowball. Unfortunately, Na'Vi, they're setting up for another gank on this Slark. Whether or not he gets caught out, we'll have to see. Vish has already spotted him out and looks like it's going to be a failed gank, but I don't think we're going to see anything out of this. I don't think Na'Vi wants to force a fight right now. Pickoffs, yes. Especially getting to the Wisp to level 6, really, really important. He's just shy of it.
Oh, Dendi teleporting in with an infested lifesteal. They go for Limbo, who was here by himself on the top lane. Not quite sure about that positioning, and he'll probably pay for it. Doom's up, Dendi still tries to go for it. Look at that crit damage. It is quite insane. With those face boots, the block won't matter. He might actually get a kill from this one. Then he just needs one more hit, but in comes the Fisher, and Limbo now has a long way to go before he reaches Dandy again. Dandy will not die from this Doom. Very close though, 25 HP left. Limbo not getting a kill and will still end up getting dropped. I have to say, he's making it quite a chase at least for Na'Vi to actually get him in the end. They used 5 heroes for that. 5! Every single one of them is here on the top lane to make sure that that Doom drops.
Well, I mean, like, Lifestealer is really the only hero who can actually do any sort of good damage besides the burst damage coming out from the Puck, the Fisher, which it really doesn't have many levels and it's only doing 175. That Vanguard was doing work there. I mean, all of those low physical damage heroes on Na'Vi just couldn't cut through that Vanguard. Unfortunately, if he had just not tried to get that Puck kill, he probably would have lived. He would have made his back to his tier 1 tower. Fortunately, Dandy just lived with like 25 health, something like that.
Yeah, it would have been worth it if he actually got the kill. It was a risk that he took. I like that he took it. It's a shame for him that, of course, it didn't work out for him. And his team, in the meantime, haven't been able to do anything on the map with the free time that they got. They weren't able to take down the tier 1 tower bottom. They did go for a bit of a push, but the lane was just too far away to actually take a tower off of that. We had a bit of a push out on the mid lane as well, where MIB was actually able to get some farm. MIB, by the way, he's not been involved in any of the kills, which is quite surprising since there was a triple kill around him. Was only there because he was the one that got chased down, and he's been chased down before. But so far he's not been involved in any kills, nor has he died, but he has his mechanism ready, so he's doing pretty well for himself. Second highest on net worth for his team, with the highest being the Doom, who's actually highest of everybody. Only Havost in the second place is of the Dire team in this one, of the top 3.
Yeah, going back over that last engagement, I mean, Na'Vi were trying to gank bottom, and all of a sudden they're ganking top, and that's just going to continue. Duza really needs to either be able to see those ganks coming, see the global capacity of Na'Vi to be able to move around the map very, very quickly with Infest, global teleports, all that sort of stuff. And they need to be able to be spot on with their timing and back out at the right time, or they need to group up very, very early. They can't really stand to have too many of those pickoffs happen, because it's not going to take much for Na'Vi to get just a little bit of gold to be able to pretty much just keep on turtling. That's all they need, is their basic amount of gold to be able to turtle long enough that eventually Hobos catches up with Doom. You've got Dandy getting all his items that he's going to pick up when you Blink Dagger. It's not going to take much, though really Duza has to be very, very careful with these pickoffs, because they have to deal with an Earthshaker, a Puck, and the split push of a Furion. All really hard things to go up against when you're trying to push early.
Yeah, it's a very scary line that they walk. It's a very thin balance that they have to keep here. And of course, Legion is an important part of that, because you pick up a Slark because you want to have some mid-game aggression. As this Slark so far, of course, he's been able to be involved in some fights, but he hasn't really been doing enough, I think. He's got the items to make it work for him, and he's actually going for a Shadowblade. I'm assuming that because that's what Legion normally builds in his Slark. We'll see, though, if he actually purchases it soon, because he's not there just yet. Maybe he just wants to get it the moment that he has all the gold for it, as the towers are getting exchanged, by the way. Tier 1 tower on top dies, and tower on bottom as well, as the Puppy is still there on the bottom lane to at least slow down the push for the tier 2. Na'Vi not getting slowed. Look at the pushing power from Na'Vi, though, with all those Treyans. Definitely not nothing. They are only pushing with 3 people, while Duza is pushing with all 5 of them, so it's slightly in favor of Na'Vi that they do this. No free farming anybody for Duza while they were pushing, and they're actually going to try to do something here on the top lane. They come too late to try and take fights or anything like that, but at least they're able to stop the push. So in the end, Duza gets themselves an extra tower compared to Na'Vi, and that's the kind of thing that they have to keep doing. They have to get ahead somehow on this stage of the game, as you pointed out. This should be their time.
Oh, the global gank bottom, unfortunately. Visage, he's going to get caught out. Nothing he can really do about this one. Well, maybe if he can get another stomp as the rage goes down, but that's not going to be the case, and unfortunately, that's just the global power of Wisp.
Oh, look at Dandy.
There's not much you can do about that. Ooh.
Dandy is looking for some blood. Oh, or a courier. Courier. Why not?
Oh, it's slowed by the bottle,
yep.
too.
And then comes a Dream Call Darkseer, the one who hasn't died yet. Will actually die right now. Or not. In comes a mechanism. In comes a pounce, Dandy. Tries to get away, won't be able to though. That's a kill for a Visage. Lifestealer, a Vost, running for his life right now. Should be safe, should be fine. He's got some phase boots and drums. He is mighty fast. But in the end, Denny giving his life for a courier. It's still worth it. Especially since Denny already had his Blink Dagger. I mean, if that Blink Dagger was slowed down by that, that would be bad. But still, he dies for a courier.
Yeah, I mean, trading yourself for a courier isn't that bad. You get a lot of gold for your team. But unfortunately, him going down, while he's not a heavy split push target, he is one of the heroes that can really stand up against Duza and provide some heavy control like we were talking about earlier in these team fights. And Duza should be looking for those team fights right now. In fact, they're actually going to go for early Roshan, it looks like. They're going to counter the vision first. And honestly, I mean, I would support them going for an early Rosh. It doesn't matter dire advantage or anything. While Puck might be able to get the jump on you, it would force attention to you, and that's exactly what you want, because Navi's just hopping around. They're getting a little aggressive, you know, getting pickoffs here and there, but for the most part, they're avoiding the main force of Duza, and they're just looking for little simple pickoffs, and that's exactly how they're going to play this draft for the next 10 to 15 minutes. So they really need to be able to either smoke up and get the jump on Navi, or be able to force their attention. And it's hard to force their attention when you've got Furion constantly split pushing, because every single time you push into a tower, Navi just looks at it and goes, well, we're probably going to trade anyway. So it's hard. It's really, really hard to deal with a Wisp Furion lineup, no matter what sort of heroes you have.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to get super aggressive or smoke. One of the two. And that's, wow, double smoke actually coming out. That's how committed they are, Sheever.
Want to have two smokes.
Pops the double smoke.
Yeah. Oh, and they're going to walk up the high ground, find Navi straight away. And Vost is there. Oh, Kuroki. That's a good one to find first if they actually get the kill. The tether away. Kuroki lives for now. Smoke gank, double smoke gank failed here by for Duza. They have to go back. And I mean, Navi, they had a Nature's Prophet that of course was shut down in the early game, but he picked himself up a Hand of Midas and he's now back on track. He's got himself a Shadow Blade. He is second highest on net worth for his team. He's doing pretty nice for himself. Roshan still attempted here by Duza, by the way. It's a good call. I mean, they have to get their advantage from something, be that smoke gangs, be that Roshan. And they can take down Roshan. They also just be careful about relocates, probably. Just in case Navi wants to try their hand at taking down an Aegis. I think they can. Legion sitting right next to a sentry ward. You should know that though, because his Shadow Dance, of course, is not there. And he actually gets fissured, collapsed, and silenced up. In comes an Ice Path to save his life, but Nature's Prophet Ultimate, Nature's Wrath, clearing out Legion. And now I would say it's time for Legion to leave the pit, but they're still going. They're gonna get the Roshan, but not the Aegis. Park picks up the Aegis. In comes Puppy with a blink. Already went for a Zeko Slam. It is Earthshaker that dies together with Capron. In comes a Dream Call up on 3. Navi not done just yet. We'll take down Limbo. And we'll take down Unstable. Now one hero left alive. It is MIB the best. And this is actually the first time that the Darkseer went down. This fight as a Vost is armor toggling to try and stay away from the stay alive through the Familiars. But that's Duza getting wiped. And I think slight overextension in the Roche pit.
Yeah, that's the trouble with these sort of lineups, especially going up against a team like Navi. They're really going to be able to capitalize on those mistakes that you make, and a lineup like this doesn't allow you to make many mistakes at all. You have to win all of your team fights like that, and losing just one team fight puts them so far behind. Now, while they can still, most of this draft is going to be focused on early aggression, because they don't want to take this too late versus a Wisp, Furion, a Lifestealer. None of those heroes you want to go late up against unless you have a hard carry. That being said, Doom can, because of his ultimate, shut down the Lifestealer pretty heavily, and that's their hard carry. So they can actually take this a little bit later than you would normally like to see this draft go, but it's out of their comfort zone. Like, you can see that this Doom get really, really big and be able to stand up against Navi 35-40 minutes in, but their height of their power was supposed to be this 20 to 25 minute mark, and unfortunately losing that team fight puts them back by so much. They've lost map control. They're now losing in gold and experience. It just, everything is looking pretty bad.
Whoa! Vost just paused. And he is standing right next to Doom, and yeah, I think Vlad might have a point there. No, that's That's probably not true, but he is kind of in a tough position. There's a Doom up on Doom. He can just throw it out. Visage is here, of course, as well as everybody of Duza is around there. There's a relocate ready for Io and Puck. They were already thinking about relocating, I would think, because we saw Puppey and Avos already roaming around inside the Radiant Jungle for a while before the pause actually happened, before they actually found some people. But they don't have their Nature's Prophet. He can TP in, of course. I think this could be turning into a 5-on-5 fight, or at least it would have, I think, if this fight indeed would have happened without the pause. Now, with the pause, what could they be talking about and what decisions could they make? Could Duza say, you know what, screw this, we're out? Because what does Duza actually see here? No.
Well, Duza sees that they're going to be able to doom Havos, and they should be able to kill him off of that. Unfortunately, because of this pause, what should have been Doom getting the jump on Havos and being able to get off his ultimate before Armlet is turned on, Havos is going to be able to turn on his Armlet, and that's actually going to give him a significant amount of survivability before that Doom goes off. They should still be able to pick him up, though, with the slow and everything. They should easily be able to pick it off, unless Puppey hits the block of his life. That's going to be the big thing.
Yeah.
If he can position himself either farther up or farther down and get that fissure right behind Havost, blocking out the two heroes chasing him, then this is going to be really upsetting for Duza.
Hey, did you
because
ever...
this is the pickoff they needed.
Did you ever notice that Nature's Wrath is actually thorns flying through everybody? Look at Doom, and behind him there's thorns.
Oh, it is.
It is. It's like thorns. We haven't reconnect. By the way, there was just a ward countered from Na'Vi inside the Radiant Jungle where Unstable, Legion and MIB standing, but they still have some vision in this pause. They still see Legion there. They don't see MIB or Unstable, but they do see the rest. By the way, Puppey is not visible for Duza either, so they only see Havos and Nature's Prophet on the map. Let's see what's going to happen. Let's see if they can get the Doom off, if they're going to try to do anything. The Rage Armlet indeed turned on. Here comes a Fissure. Legion actually a little more on the wrong side of the Fissure, but they're not going to go for this. It's actually Na'Vi that decides to not fight. Oh, what? Nature's Prophet. What you doing there, Pycat? Nice micro. There is someone on the ball here. Did you see that? The moment that they saw that Nature's Prophet, they went back, and they're actually... Ooh.
Oh, you almost had him, too. That would have been beautiful.
Yeah.
And I really would have loved to see a Furion getting punished for that, because it doesn't happen enough, because it's such a hassle. You're like, I have to teleport all the way back to my base to try and punish him just freely sniping my courier. It's really I hate courier sniping. It's like my biggest hate of Dota 2. It's just like watching that, I'm just like, that's so stupid. Legion.
Ooh.
Running into Dendi, he's gonna get himself away though.
Yeah.
He does not want to fight that.
Puppey and Kuroki were about to hit that too, but they smoked up with the three of them going top. Nobody there though on the side of Duza, so Duza will be fine for a while. I have to say I'm impressed. Like normally when a Nature's Prophet is sniping your courier, you don't really notice it that fast, because you don't, like, if you look at minimap looking for enemy heroes, you don't really look that often in your own base. But Duza on the ball here, making sure that they are still countering that. We still have the smoke people sitting on the top lane. They're hoping for someone to counter the push that's incoming, but at the same time Duza is smoking up as well. They know that they need to fight while having an advantage, and they're gonna try it. Of course, the Aegis is already gone. Puck did lose the Aegis straight away when he picked it up, and they're actually gonna try to go for Vos. The Ice Path is already there. There's no Doom again this time, but they might be able to have enough damage. In comes Dendi though with the Dream Coil up on 4. Jumps himself back out, keeps his carry safe. Maybe the tier 2 will still drop. Tier 2 on the top lane dropped as well though on the Duza side. Fortification comes in as well from Na'Vi, trying to slow the push as they're trying to maybe force them back before the tower dies if they can. Oh, Nature's Prophet coming in, relocate coming in. Legion will be dead first with an Echo Slam from Puppey. He's already blinked himself out. Kuroki taking some damage, Dendi being doomed up. Kuroki going down, Dendi as well, double kill for Limbo. This could be the start for Duza to get something good out of this one, but Avos already picked himself up a Jakiro kill, infests themselves inside a creep that cannot be denied, and that means that it's a 2-for-2 trade thus far. Slightly favorable for Duza, I still think though. Picking off Dendi like that and only losing Legion for it, who didn't have that big of an impact anyway. Ooh, they're not done just yet though. Tower goes down, MIB gets eaten up, sprouts himself away, but in comes a Sprout, surges himself away obviously. MIB puts up the wall, runs the other way, making sure that Limbo is at least trying to get some kill off of it, tries to go for Pyket. I think he can get this, he should be able to get this. He leaves it, lets it go. Lets it go. No extra kills being done here apart from the towers. Control by Duza. I really think thought they were gonna chase that. This is so not Russian Dota.
Yeah, you know, I mean, unfortunately, they just didn't have vision for that Shadow Blade, but it was, you know, Navi's doing a really good job kiting around the Doom. Like, Puppy keeps having these really good block-offs with his Fissure that forces Doom to just run around with his phase boots and get into position again. And it's allowing Lifestealer to pop in and out of these team fights with this race car build of phase boots drums. He's able to go in and out, and keep away from this Doom. And that's the big thing, is Doom is supposed to be able to, uh-oh, stop. Doom's in trouble.
Oh, he gets ganked upon. Limbo will end up going down. He's pretty rich though. So, well, actually he loses 400 gold. Still not nice. I'm kind of curious to see what he's going to go for. What do you think he's going to go for? Is he still going to be finishing up his AC? Because, oh, MIB in some trouble. MIB in a lot of trouble actually. Max himself runs for it. Vacuums away the trees, puts the pipe up. He already used the mechanism. He has got a surge again. In comes an ice pass to make sure nobody crosses this one anymore. And that means that we're gonna see MIB living. MIB has a lot of these escapes, I feel like. He always gets either saved or gets just out in the nick of time. Pretty impressive. Na'Vi is laying down a lot of pressure all of a sudden though. A lot more pressure than it did before anyway.
Yeah, and this is not what you want to see if you're Duza, where Na'Vi is pushing in your tier 2s. You're supposed to have a gold lead by having more towers than they do. At the very least, they're trading the top and bottom towers, but never the mid towers, because you're always able to defend those easily. And them losing that tier 2 was a lot of gold that Na'Vi never planned on having, and that's really bad. Earthshaker already has his Blink Dagger. Besides that, he already had Wisp to be able to globally teleport him. Who needs a Blink Dagger when you've got that relocate, I guess? Nature's Prophet is going to be able to pick up a Scythe of Ice very, very soon. Havos can pick up an Abyssal if he wants. You know, I wasn't expecting straight Abyssal. I was expecting him to go in a little bit more armor, go for that AC first before the Abyssal, but he may really want to be able to lock down the Slark or the Doom. He can actually stand up and fight them rather than just trying to kite around and pick off the supports once he has that. So Doom, meanwhile, he picks up, I was wondering if he was going to pick up, I was thinking he should build into straight damage. When you're on the ropes like this, when you're already kind of losing the game where you're supposed to be in control of, you might as well just go straight damage, and something like a Radiance, while it may not be terribly, you know, the best item for your build normally, you just need straight damage at this point. When you're already kind of behind, you just gotta throw everything and hope that you're able to make some work come out. Some good criticals, some damage over time. But instead he goes for the Shivas, which is really good versus the Lifestealer. Due to the fact that he's going to be able to doom him out of the fight and also be able to lower his attack speed and movement speed with that Shiva's Guard. That really defeats the Lifestealer. Just the Doom by himself kind of keeps him out of the fight if he's able to actually hit the Doom. Now, the biggest part of this problem is that the fact that Na'Vi has some pretty good mobility now with the Puck being able to have Blink Dagger and a Scythe of Ice, Earthshaker being able to have a Blink Dagger as well, that Kuroki can use Relocate to now actually, in a very defensive way, Courier Sniping, there it is again.
Hi, Cat.
He can use it in a defensive way to relocate the Lifestealer out, and the rest of his allies should be able to follow suit. If he can get the Lifestealer out, then the Furion has Shadowblade Teleport, Puck has plenty of ways to get away, and Earthshaker, hopefully he's staying back enough in the team fight that he's able to keep himself out. So if Duza initiates with the Doom, then Na'Vi can just bring him back to the base, go, okay, reset the team fight, we don't want to fight this one, 5v5, and just come back afterwards. Doom has a relatively long cooldown. And that's a big problem. When you're centering your whole entire team fight around that one ability, it's going to be really easy for Na'Vi to either bait that out or just avoid it for the rest of the game.
Yeah, and in a game like this, you would then look to maybe a semi-carry, which in this case is Legion, but Legion hasn't been having that big of an impact, so he can't really fulfill that role all too well. So a lot of pressure on this Doom to have the team fights go well, and I think that Dudes also have to hope that Na'Vi makes some positioning mistakes that they can profit from. Because otherwise they're going to be in a lot of trouble. There is so much control on Navi. I mean, you already mentioned the Scythe of Ice on the Puck, and Nature's Prophet now has his complete as well, and there's an Abyssal up on the Lifestealer. Like, you can only do one of those 3 targets that have that much control, and it is probably going to be the Lifestealer, but then you're going to have to deal with 2 Hexes, and there's no BKB up on anybody of Duza yet, so they're going to just have free reign and trying to shut down anybody that they want to, and it's going to be real tricky for Duza to still end this game, but they are the ones to... well, exert the pressure right here. They're sitting with 5 people in mid lane. And they want to try and make something happen. I think maybe they have to be the one to make something happen because they can't just be sitting ducks in their base and then Na'Vi will have the upper hand. But we'll see how far they get. If they can get some pressure in the towers in, of course, as well. If they can slow push this, and if they can get themselves some damage on some racks, slowly but steadily, without giving too much away, then I would still say that they are in okay shape, but I doubt that Na'Vi is going to let that happen without a fight.
Yeah, I mean, they're already threatening the tier 3 at bottom. Furion's already outputting a lot of damage on there. And Puck, Dandy's actually going to try and cancel some of these teleports, I think.
Yeah, finds one. Nope, doesn't find one. Finds Capron, actually. Hexes him up. Dandy's still taking a lot of damage from those familiars, by the way. But Capron will end up dying for that one. There goes a Fisher to end that. But look at the damage that Dandy took from those. That's just familiars, right?
Mm-hmm. Just familiars. That's what happens when you get that Aghanims. Unfortunately... that just means
oh, his familiars
already been feeding away a lot of that gold from familiars. Now he's got an extra one to feed even more gold away.
But he just lost all 3 of them. And they're not resummonable for another 2 minutes. That's a big blow in the face of Duza. You kind of need those familiars. That's half your hero.
And once they have Aegis, there's nothing defensive about Na'Vi. There is nothing they need to do. At this point, they've completely... if Havos dies, he comes back. You've got Na'Vi, both Dendi and Pycat being able to have 2 Scythe of Ice. They can delay this team fight. They can use their mobility to their advantage, delay the team fight while they're waiting for him to come back. They can just go full speed ahead and just pick off heroes left and right and force team fights.
Yep, that's a hero left at least. It's Jakiro that drops. Jakiro is an important hero for counter push if you want to try and hold your base. In a turtley lineup, you want to have those Ice Panther, Necropyre, those long-range spells that you can slow down the push with. You kind of need those, and no Jakiro, no Ice Path, no Necropyre. We're gonna see if they can still hold down the push. They still have a Darkseer, which is a very good one if you're trying to slow a push down, but I don't think that Na'Vi is gonna really care too much about a Darkseer. Limbo already gets Abyssal and hexed and killed. Looking for the next one. MIB hex up as well. Killed up as well. Legion goes down. That's a double kill for Avos, and this is just a massacre. Capron last one alive here, but it won't be for long. He just gets sprouted up, stunned up, and killed off. Tries to do what he can, but down he goes. And look, it's a Jakiro. Ice Path, Necropyre still doing a lot of damage towards Puppy here. And is able to hide inside his base, but Na'Vi, they just won a massive team fight, and they're taking down towers and racks, and Jakiro still ends up dying because Dendi was able to get him, and this, I'm thinking this is GG. Very anticlimactic GG, but, well, GG nonetheless.
I think this was the first real team fight that we got to see. Like, a full, real 5, I mean, what technically it wasn't 5-on-5 because they were still missing a hero from Jakiro getting picked off, but it was the first real team fight that happened in the game. And Na'Vi, that's because Na'Vi was in control of this game. They knew when to force the team fights. They stayed away from Duza as much as possible. You know, I think Duza had, you know, a pretty decent strategy here. I just feel that there were 2 things going wrong. Either unfortunately the Slark didn't provide anything for them. He got 0 kills. He wasn't able to put any pressure on any heroes. And that's not entirely his fault. Na'Vi did a really good job shutting him down early. And then also Doom not picking up the Shadow Blade, which is fine as long as you're able to make it work. And unfortunately, they just didn't. I was expecting a very much a repetitive smoke or Shadow Blade onto the Furion. Pick him off 5 mid. Just over and over and over. That way you don't have to deal with the split push and you're forcing fights on Na'Vi's territory. Unfortunately, they got kited around pretty heavily. Na'Vi just did a really good job just outmaneuvering them every step of the way.
Yeah, I want to still point out that on paper, it should have been a lot less even than it actually was, especially at the start of the game. I still think Duza, they definitely had a chance here. In the end, of course, they did end up losing it. Na'Vi still taking it 9-22. Definitely convincing win for Na'Vi, but Duza, not hopeless, not like at all. That was, of course, our
No,
first
absolutely.
game. Oh, sorry.
No, they did demonstrate a good strategy, and while they weren't able to execute it all the way through, it was creative, it was interesting, and it was aggressive. They had the right ideas. Unfortunately, they just couldn't execute all the way, and that probably just needs a little bit more practice. They probably haven't practiced this strategy, this draft specifically, as much. And so when you're going up against a top team like Na'Vi,
Yeah.
that's kind of going to show you those small mistakes that you make that get ironed out along the way as you practice it more. You know, Na'Vi sees those mistakes and go, okay, well, let's just pick this off right here. You know, so
Yep.
I think they're going to be a really good looking team though in the future.
I definitely think so too. They've been doing so well. We're gonna jump ourselves to the second game of StarSeries today. We have got 4 games in total, and all 4 are great. Of course, this was Duza versus Na'Vi. After this, we're gonna watch Aspera taking on Roxkiss, then Roxkiss Power Rangers, and then Alliance Quantic. So stick around, because there's gonna be Dota 2 here the entire evening, or at least up until 9 PM CST time. But first, we're gonna have ourselves a little bit of a break, couple of minutes before we head ourselves to the next game, which is Aspera versus Roxkiss. Don't go anywhere.